you know that many remote key fobs allow you to instantly roll down all the windows? Just press the remote's unlock button once, release it, and then hold the unlock button again, this time for 5 seconds. This is quite common in many key fobs, and it's convenient, especially during the hot summers, if you want to start letting out the interior heat before you reach your car. In some cars, you can insert the remote key into the door lock, turn it counterclockwise, release it, and turn it counterclockwise again, and hold on for a few seconds to open the windows. So what other cool car functions are there that you might have overlooked or don't know about? If you have an old Nissan or looking to buy a used one, not everyone knows this, but after 2008, all Nissan cars came equipped with the Tire Pressure Monitoring System, or TPMS. TPMS monitors the pressure level and warns you when your tires have lost 25% of their air. Nissan also has the Easy Fill Tire Alert System. This is helpful when you're filling your tires. With this feature, you don't even need to look at the pressure gauge. That's because the system monitors the pressure as you are filling them. Then it alerts you when the tire has reached sufficient pressure. It does this by honking your car's horn and flashing the car lights. Now imagine you recently bought a car. Whether you bought a new or used car, when you pull up to the gas station, it dawns on you that you don't know which side of the car is used to fill the gas up. Some people say that if the steering wheel is on the left side, then the fuel tank will be on the right, and vice versa. Well, that used to be the case because some countries regulated the location of the fuel tank for safety reasons. Historically, to prevent flash fires from the opposite contact of gasoline with a hot exhaust pipe, the fuel tank used to be placed on the opposite side of the exhaust pipe. But also, it was to protect pedestrians walking on the sidewalk near the car from being directly exposed to exhaust fumes. It was similar in countries with left-hand traffic, except it was the other way around. But nowadays, many cars have two exhaust pipes or a central exhaust, so that rule they're saying is not relevant these days. So how do you know which side of the car to fill the gas on? Actually, the answer is right in front of you. Just look at the fuel gauge indicator on your dashboard. There you'll see an arrow pointing to the left or right to indicate which side your gas tank is located on. Speaking of fuel, did you know that almost all cars have a fuel cap holder? Gone are the days when you remove the fuel cap and leave it on the car roof or trunk, or accidentally drop the fuel cap on the floor. When you open the gas tank door to refuel, you'll see the fuel cap holder on the little door. It's a little detail, but nevertheless extremely useful. These days, most modern cars have color-coded engines. Many car makers intentionally color-coded for you, the car owner. The purpose is to make it super easy for you to locate minor services most people do on their own. You ever replace certain fluids on your own? For example, just look out for the colorful stuff. I'm talking about the dipstick, oil cap, coolant, brake fluid, and washer fluid. Typically, these things are yellow or blue, but some have red or green parts too. And then pretty much everything else you can leave to the experts and let your mechanic handle the more complex things. In other words, the non-color-coded parts and stuff that are black or gray. Did you know that 3 Japanese companies, from Nissan to Honda to Toyota, as well as European manufacturers Volvo and Mercedes-Benz, have developed a system for detecting drowsiness when someone is driving? We're all human and we all get drowsy at some point in time, especially when we're on the road for a long stretch. Studies have shown that nodding off for even a second can cause a serious accident. That's why car companies are developing various kinds of systems to help the driver stay awake behind the wheel. For instance, if you're driving a Mercedes and you keep your hands on the steering wheel, the Mercedes Attention Assist system can detect if you're getting sleepy. It learns your steering patterns and driving style and uses the data to alert you if your hands don't turn the steering wheel in the direction of travel. When it senses the onset of sleep and recognizes that the driver is swerving, the steering wheel would immediately vibrate to wake up the driver, and the system will also guide the car back to its lane. Now, some drowsiness detection systems use a built-in camera to continuously monitor the driver's face and eyes for signs of tiredness or distracted driving. Newer cars even use physiological measurement sensors that record the driver's brain activity, heart rate, and muscle activity. One thing is for sure, there are some amazing features automakers are developing to keep people safe on the road. Now let's talk about cruise control, but actually a new feature, which is adaptive cruise control. Most people are familiar with the classic cruise control system. It's especially useful for long road trips because you can set the speed of your car to a desired speed, but the limitation with the classic control is that as soon as you catch up with the vehicle in front, you would have to resume control of the car yourself and manually adjust to the speed of the traffic, or you will run into them. That's where the latest adaptive technology takes cruise control to an all-new level. It works by using radar and cameras to detect vehicles in front of you and automatically decelerate or accelerate your car by adjusting or adapting to the speed of the vehicle in front. If the car in front moves out of your lane, the system restores the set speed automatically. Even at the tightest corners, the system will adjust your car's speed to ensure safe and comfortable cornering. This is a great technology to help save fuel and prevent collisions. But nevertheless, we should remember that this is not a fully autonomous system. You still need to pay attention to the road while using the adaptive cruise control system. Plus, like any other safety system, adaptive cruise control has its limitations. For example, bad weather, dirt, and debris can drown out the radar sensor or reduce the visibility of the camera. Or if the car in front suddenly or instantly slows down, then you should manually resume control of your car. So we should always remain alert while driving, even when you're using updated technologies like this. By the way, there's another system to help prevent or reduce accidents and collisions. It's the Emergency Braking Assistant, or EBA. The fact is that many drivers in the moment of collision freeze due to shock, like the proverbial deer in the headlights. This inhibits them from reacting in time or braking with the force needed for maximum braking. The result is loss of time and braking distance. As its name suggests, EBA is an active safety system. It's designed to recognize cars, pedestrians, and cyclists and detect possible collisions and emergency braking situations. It activates the vehicle's brakes when a potential collision is detected and automatically increases the braking force within milliseconds. The purpose of the system is to react faster than a human driver can. So how does it work? Many systems use radars. They also measure the speed at which the brake pedal is depressed. Some systems take into account the speed at which the driver releases the accelerator pedal to determine the degree of panic from the driver. If the emergency braking system senses that the driver has panicked, it can initiate preliminary braking. The sensors also determine if sufficient brake force has been applied by the driver. If not, the system intervenes to apply the maximum braking force. Research shows that the emergency braking system can reduce braking distance by up to 20%. This means that at 125 miles an hour, it will reduce the braking distance by 70 feet, which, of course, improves the safety of the vehicle and passengers. Take a look at the Mercedes S-Class, for example. The latest features include facial recognition, a fingerprint sensor, and the world's first front airbags for rear passengers. Or what about the head-up display with augmented reality navigation? It seemingly displays images like turn arrows on the roadway, along with the optional digital light system, which projects warning symbols to warn the driver about road works or road signs ahead. The second generation M-Bucks Mercedes-Benz user experience also makes its debut in the S-Class. It takes advantage of machine learning algorithms, and the M-Bucks Interior Assist can be trained to detect the intention of S-Class passengers. It works via cameras in the overhead control panel. Well, in 1959, the Mercedes-Benz 220 appeared, commonly known as the Fintail. It was the first car to be equipped not only with a safety cell, but also with crumple zones in the front and rear. The patented design divided the car into three sections. Passenger safety cell was solid and non-deformable and sat between the crumple zones, the front and rear. This allowed the car ends to absorb impact and literally crumble in the event of an accident, but left the section carrying driver and passengers untouched. This construction and design was radical for 1959, when most cars at the time were built very rigid, making them more likely to be fatal in accidents. The Mercedes-Benz 220 design integrated longitudinal members running right through the middle of the W111, forming a solid safety cell with body panels. The front and rear supports were made curved and easily damaged in the event of an accident. This was done so they can absorb and dissipate the energy generated by the accident. It was groundbreaking at the time, and Mercedes-Benz fully owned and patented back in 1952. Mercedes-Benz can also be credited with innovating modern adaptive cruise control. Of course, radar-based cruise control was not a direct invention of Mercedes. Mitsubishi pioneered it, followed by Toyota in 1995 with a similar remote control system in its full-size Celsior sedan. But Mercedes-Benz offered a cruise control system that not only could identify traffic ahead and regulate the speed of the car, but it could also completely stop the car and then accelerate again without driver input. It was basically adaptive cruise control with a stop-and-go function. So we can say modern adaptive cruise control dates back to 1998 in the new W220 S-Class. Incidentally, back in 1995, Mercedes-Benz, in collaboration with Bosch, proposed what it called ESP for short, for the W110 S-Class series. This is the car's electronic stability control system, and it was designed not only to maintain tire traction under hard accelerations, but also to assist in stabilizing from lateral slippage. If, for example, the driver loses control, the system can recognize this and will apply the brakes to the individual tires, as well as reduce the pressure on the throttle valve. The ESP monitors and detects the intended direction based on a comparison of the steering angle measurement and the actual direction of the travel of the vehicle. The system also takes into account lateral acceleration, rotation of the tires, and the individual speed of movement of its wheels. All this helps the car stay on a steady course. But the point is that the ESP first appeared in Mercedes-Benz flagship S-Class. Mercedes-Benz wasn't the first to offer ABS technology, but it was the first to modernize the electronic ABS. Mechanical ABS first appeared in the 1920s. Initially, it was developed for aviation. You don't want planes sliding sideways when they're landing. It wasn't until the 1960s that it began to appear in cars. In the early 1970s, Ford, Chrysler, Cadillac, and Lincoln all offered mechanical ABS, but it proved to be unreliable and very expensive. So when Mercedes-Benz introduced the W116 S-Class electronic ABS from Bosch in 1978, it was a big splash. To this day, this innovation is still saving lives around the world, but this isn't the latest Mercedes-Benz safety innovation. Back in 2002, Mercedes introduced its patented pre-safe passenger protection system. This system essentially works by preparing and optimizing passenger safety measures for an impending collision or rollover. This happens when the pre-safe sensors detect instability in the vehicle, from hard braking or steering. The system responds immediately to increase passenger protection. The same thing also happens when the pre-safe radar detects an approaching vehicle on a collision course with a Mercedes. So imagine that you're stopped at a red light. There's a car behind you that's quickly approaching and you realize that a collision is unavoidable. The pre-safe rear radar system detects the scenario and immediately turns on the rear hazard lights and starts flashing them quickly in order to warn the approaching driver to urgently slow down or stop. At the same time, the pre-safe system immediately tightens the front seat belts, brings the back seats upright, and repositions the head restraints to reduce injuries and prevents the passenger from being thrown out in a collision. In addition, pre-safe will also try to close the windows and sunroof before a collision. It does this so that no foreign objects will enter the vehicle's cabin and cause injury. This system also will increase the braking resistance of your car to prevent or reduce a collision with a car in front. Did you know that BMW designed and built its first electric car back in 1972? It was the famous 1602, which was powered by 12 batteries and had a range of 19 miles on a single charge. In 2004, BMW became the first European automaker to offer a heads-up display. This was a featured part of BMW Connect Drive. Initially, it only displayed the speed of the car, but now its capabilities have been greatly expanded. The display includes navigation directions and information in full color to make driving even easier. Studies show it usually takes a full second for a driver to read the speedometer or look at a navigation display. Meanwhile, in that 1 second, the car's already traveled about 14 yards at a city speed of 30 miles an hour. A lot can happen in that distance and time. Now compare that to heads-up display, in which the floating image is projected onto the windshield and is said to be hovering in the driver's eye level above the hood. Now it takes the driver half that amount of time to absorb the navigational information, plus this type of display is less tiring for the driver. So overall, it makes for safer drive. BMW offers a zero-G lounger technology which really kicks up the level of comfort and relaxation to the passenger seat of its crossover SUV. The luxury seat can now be reclined back 60 degrees. So, in order to assure the greatest amount of comfort without compromising safety, BMW installed the seat belt on the left-hand side of the passenger so that it can remain snug against the passenger's body even at that angle. In addition to the zero-G lounger, a 360-degree cocoon airbag is included. So in the event of an accident, it deploys and completely covers both the seat and the passenger to provide maximum protection. Take, for example, the exhaust gas turbocharger in the legendary 911, sequential turbocharging in the Porsche 959, and the first carbon ceramic disc brakes first introduced in the Porsche GT2 in 2001, and that's just for starters. Recently, there's been a lot of news about the Porsche Taycan. It's Porsche's fully electric sports car. Taycan is a groundbreaking car because it's the first mass-produced electric vehicle with a system voltage of 8 100 volts instead of the usual 400 volts. Remember, voltage is basically power. This system allows the Taycan's battery to be recharged up to a range of 60 miles in just over 5 minutes. And it only takes 22.5 minutes to get from 5% to 80% charged. It's no secret that one of the things that quickly drains the battery of an electric vehicle comes from constant rapid acceleration. The Taycan has the world's first 2-speed transmission in an electric vehicle. This allows the Porsche Taycan to keep its charge for longer, even during high-performance driving. Mounted on the rear axle, the first gear allows for tremendous acceleration from a standing start, while the second gear with a long gear ratio provides for high efficiency, which means a large reserve of power. With this new technology, the all-wheel drive Taycan accelerated 26 times in a row from 0 to 124 miles an hour, with a difference of only 0.8 seconds between the fastest and slowest attempt. Of course, to increase the power output and torque, it was necessary not only to create a 2-speed gearbox and make changes in the battery, but also to improve the electric motors. So Porsche innovated the hairpin winding of the stator coils so they could add more copper to the stator. The Taycan may be Porsche's first modern all-electric sports car, but did you know that their first electric car dates back to 1898? Porsche's founder, Ferdinand Porsche, designed his first electric vehicle known as the P1. Just 2 years later came the world's first fully hybrid car, the Porsche Semper Vivus. He had entered uncharted territory, but Porsche would focus on combustion engines for more than 100 years, until they restarted its production of hybrids with the release of the Cayenne S Hybrid. This opened the door for the Panamera S Hybrid, the world's first parallel full hybrid in the luxury car class, and for the first plug-in hybrid supercar, the 918 Spyder. Today, the Cayenne Turbo SE Hybrid and the new Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid are among the most powerful plug-in hybrids in the Porsche lineup. And of course, at the top of the segment is the all-new electric Taycan. But now, you tell me, what's your favorite European brand and why? Also, if you have any funny or terrifying stories about European cars, please comment and share. Thanks for your support.